Hello and welcome to the PC Gaming Vortex. My name is Hikaro, and this is the first episode of our coverage of Lord of the Rings Online, otherwise known as LOTRO. This episode will cover the character creation process, and starting next episode, I'll be joined by my friend DarkRelic, and we will take you through the game. I've actually played this game quite a bit. I'm a veteran player of the game, and enjoy it quite a bit. DarkRelic has played a little bit, but hasn't played a whole lot, so you'll actually get to experience it from both ends of the spectrum there. So let's jump right into the character creation process. The first thing you'll notice is there is 4 races to choose from. There's man, dwarf, hobbit, and elf, which is, of course, very indicative of the Lord of the Rings environment. And then there is a good number of classes. We're going to be playing the race of man, but, I mean, all the races are what you'd expect them to be. Dwarfs, short, stout, and hairy. Hobbits, short, stout, and hairy in different places, like their feet. And then elf, which is, yeah, not really hairy anywhere, I guess, except for their head. But the 4 classes are distinctly different, and if you are, I believe it's man and dwarf play together, and hobbits and elves play together at the beginning. So the starting areas are different, but you do end up in the same area after a while. The first 20 levels or so, you're going to be separated, but at any point you can just go to where your friends are if they're playing a different race. It's not a problem. There are a few limitations for classes depending on the race you are. Pretty common in games. Not a whole lot though. Most classes can be most things. So, like I said, we're going to be man. I'm going to go through all the classes really quick to give you a basic idea of what each class's role is and kind of the feel of the class. I'm actually going to be playing a Warden in this specific series, and we'll be introduced to DarkRelic's character in the next episode. The Burglar is actually a fun one. I see a lot of Hobbit Burglars out there. It's a support class. There is something in the game called a fellowship maneuver. Fellowship maneuvers are like group attacks. And the way it works is once it's triggered, each person in the group that's in the area and is in range to do it hits a specific icon. A green icon, a red icon, a blue icon, etc. And if you do them in a specific order, you do specific big attacks. If everybody hits green, everybody heals, stuff like that. The Burglar is a big deal with that. They can do a good number of fellowship maneuvers in a group. Not to mention the fact that they're like little rogues. They do a lot of backstabby stuff, and they have invisibility and stealth, and they're pretty darn good DPS considering the sport class they are. I have to say, Burglars are actually fun to play, very fun to play. The Captain is another support class. Lots of buffs. They are kind of an off DPS a little bit, but buffing is really what they're all about. Also a very, very popular class. If I remember right, the Captains actually are the class that have a guy following them around. If I recall, they have like an ally, I guess you would call them. That follows them around. They have like a banner, and they give buffs to everybody and stuff like that. The champion is basically just a DPS character. Melee DPS, pretty straightforward. They have different stances and such. They're actually, you see quite a few champions in the game. They're also fun to play. The Guardian is the tank. The Guardian is the main tank in the game. This is the guy that sits there and just takes a beating. Not a whole lot of DPS output at all, but very integral to any group. The Guardian is a great tank. The Hunters, they are the definition of DPS. You see a lot of Hunters from new players. They're basically like a World of Warcraft hunter without the pet. They do not have a pet, but they can lay traps, they do bows, they're all range DPS, and they also dual wield. It's actually kind of crazy the amount of damage that they pull off. It's pretty insane. The Lore Master is support. The Lore Master is support and crowd control, basically. They do have spells, and they do have elemental damage backing them up. And then they also have pets. This is the pet class of the game. It's a little different. The pets don't really tank at all, but they do have pets, ravens and birds and stuff like that. The idea is that they use the books and the stories and the lore of the Lord of the Rings world, and they bring it to life. So if you have a raven, you're bringing this raven out of a book, bringing it out of the lore of Lord of the Rings. Kind of a neat concept. The Minstrel is just what you think. It's a healer. It's a bard. They have a lot of different types of, I guess you can call them spells, although they're songs. They have damaging ones, they have healing a lot of healing ones, they have buffs, etc., etc. They're pretty cool. They're very unique. They play different than a lot of the classes I've played in the past. And then the race of man cannot be a Runekeeper, but Runekeepers are one of the pay-to-play classes. Runekeepers are really, really neat too. They are both DPS and healers. The way it works is you have an attunement bar. The more damage you do, the more you go onto the side of damage. The more healing you do, the more you attune to the healing side. The further you are on that side, the more your effect works that way. So if you cast a healing spell in the middle of all your damage spells, it's not going to do a whole lot because you're attuned to damage. But if you cast a damage spell when you're on the side of damage, you're going to be enhanced. It's going to do quite a bit more. So you're kind of in one or the other role, or you're balancing it really carefully. But they're really fun to play. And then the class I'm going to play, which is also the main class I play, is the Warden. This is the other pay-to-play class, but it is the most unique class I've seen in pretty much any MMO. And we'll show you how that works as the series goes along, but a basic overview is they have 3 or 4 different commands, and they chain these 4 things together to make attacks. Think of it kind of like a slow-paced fighting game, like a Street Fighter game, where you would hit quarter circle and punch to do a fireball. Well, you're inputting commands in to do stuff for this guy. And it's a really neat mechanic, and it really keeps the battle system active. Okay, so those are all the classes. Let's jump right in to the Warden. And of course, you have here origins. The origins are, of course, background, where you're from in the world, but they also change your customizable options. They're going to change what you're going to look like and things like that. So it's not only lore, but it's also looks, but it isn't a stat thing at all. So this does not affect your stats at all, nor does it affect your starting area. Okay, so we're going to go... let's go Hikaro. There we go. That's Lord of the Rings-ish, right? Kind of like Boromir. We'll do that. Okay, so all the basic options in these games, you see these in all the character creations. Nothing too special. You know, different options for which one's your guy to look like. We're not going to go too crazy here. Let's give him a ponytail. I don't know. Looks like a kind of guy that would have a ponytail. What do you guys think? Leave in comments if he deserved a ponytail or not. We'll give him a beard. There we go. That is a large nose. Let's tone down that nose a little. Okay, that's a little more manageable. Still a little pointy, but that's okay. He's got a spear. So now he's got a pointy nose and a spear. Okay, so we'll give him some dark hair, and that's good enough. We don't need to go into too much of this. Oh, wait. Oh, we got to make him look more strong. Okay, stronger. And that's all there is to it. If this is not your first character and you've done this before, you can skip the new YouTube tutorial, taking you right into the city. I always suggest going through the tutorial even if you've done it before, because you get some good stuff. Not to mention the fact that you're actually going to go through a little storyline, which I think is pretty fun. So let's go ahead and hit create here. And of course, if I haven't messed up my name, nope, no one's got the name. So we will jump right in there. That was a look on all my characters there real quick. On this server, we are on the Villia server. If anybody's going to start the game, you're welcome to join us on the server we are on. I have a good number of characters on this server. I'm also on the Nimrodel server.
The chance encounter with brigands upon the road leads to captivity. You awaken with the Ranger Strider before you. As he urges you to act quickly, you realize you have become involved in matters much greater than yourself.
Okay, here we go. So we're going to end here. We'll start up in episode 2. We'll be joined by DarkRelic, and we will see what Strider needs of us. See you then.